righty. Let's see here. Attendees. Okay, people are starting to trickle in. How's it going, everybody? Let's see here. I will enable the chat so people can chime in as well. Let's see. Attendees can chat with everybody. Okay, how's it going, everybody? How are you guys doing? Got a handful of people on here. A lot of people from the program, actually. I know we told the Academy folks about this. Awesome. Nice to see everybody on here. Feel free to chat, add something in the chat. Let's see where you guys are from. If you're in the program, which program are you in? I see a lot of familiar names on here. It's like a big family call here. This is awesome. Community of Thrivers, New York City. Dorian's from New York City. I just came from there. I was in New York City for the last 5 days in Montreal right now. It's beautiful. Got John from Oklahoma City, not in program, but recovering. Quebec, Canada, Jasmine Roy. I'm in Quebec right now, actually. I'm in Montreal. Oh, Fanny is from Montreal. Nice. Let's see. Who else? Who else? It's moving fast. Crystal Robin from Belgium. Crystal, your recovery interview is coming out. I think it's this week or next week. I literally just reviewed it and approved it for the team right now. So that's coming out. That's exciting. Yelena, California. Anja is from Germany. She's in the academy. Chloe is from Cornwall, UK. She's in academy. Marie Grace, she has graduated from academy. Her interview is coming out. Marie Grace from Michigan. We got Freddie from Stockholm. Laura, Germany. She's in the platinum program. Nice to see you, Laura. We got Cass. He just upgraded to platinum yesterday. We got Christopher Clark. Nice to see you, Chris. Kathleen, she's in platinum. Louise from Academy. Yeah, so many people on here. Nikki, nice to see you. Judith. Judith is crushing it in the Academy. You guys are all crushing it. So it is awesome to see you all on here. Sean, nice to see you, buddy. Sean from Omaha, USA. Brenda from Texas. All righty. So let's jump into it. The whole purpose of this, and this is something we've wanted to do for a while, but it's really just to bring a thriver who has recovered and has their life back on here to share the biggest tips they can with you guys. So the first one we have today, the first thriver is Preston. Preston, I remember when he came in, it was 2022. It was around October, right? And it was a very different life than he lives right now. And really the purpose of these calls, guys, is nothing other than to give you guys even more golden nuggets. I share a lot of stuff on my YouTube channel, on Instagram, but to pass that knowledge on to other people and how their lives transform because of it, it would be great to hear from them, from their own experiences. So, Preston, it is a pleasure to have you on here. I'm so excited for this. I think you guys are going to learn a lot from Preston. But really quickly, you want to introduce yourself, where you're from, kind of what you do nowadays, and yeah, let them know who you are.
Yeah, man. First off, thank you for having me back, man. I saw some folks on there that I recognize, some names, and it's always awesome to rep the program. But my name's Preston. I'm from upstate New York. I am 29 years old. I came down with long COVID in 2021, as Miguel said. I was sick for like about a year until I reached out to the program and helped me get everything back. So anything that I can do to help the program in a small way, I like to. Nowadays, I am working multiple jobs, so anywhere between like 40 and 60 hours a week, but still pacing somehow. I don't know. I got my life back. I biked 12 miles yesterday. I lift weights twice a week. I travel. I do everything that I want to do. I eat whatever I want, and I don't have symptoms anymore. I get tired. I could, you know what I mean? Like a normal person, both mentally and physically. But yeah, I've got my life back. And yeah, I don't know. What else should I tell them, Miguel? I love my grandparents, love my grandma. She likes to drink whiskey. Like, I don't know. Like, I'll tell them whatever
Buffalo
they want.
Bills. You like the
Yeah,
Buffalo?
I'm a huge Buffalo Bills fan, upstate New York, man. I've got a great girlfriend. I've been with her for like 5 years and supporting Yeah, normal tired. I've got a great supporting cast of family and friends, and just a happy dude. I like to play video games. I love water sports, love going on jet skis, stuff like that. So yeah, also a big music fan. Love playing. I play guitar, play a little piano, love to sing. So yeah,
Yeah.
just a normal dude. I love SpongeBob. That's a big one too. Big SpongeBob fan.
Yeah, no, Preston is an overall just great guy, just great dude. So, we're going to dive into a little bit of his story. I don't know if you guys got to watch his initial recovery interview, but that was probably a year ago, just under a year ago, something like that. Obviously now Preston is doing way more things, and we're gonna kind of paint a picture of where he was before, what he's doing now, and what are his capabilities now. But also the biggest thing is what were the biggest needle movers that helped him go from really surviving to thriving? Because he's someone who implemented the principles, and everyone implements certain principles in their own ways. So it'll be great to pick your brain about that. But before we jump into that, maybe just paint a picture for all of us. Where were you at during your lowest point? Because we see you today, we see you lively, high energy. What was it like at your lowest point, and when was that? Like, kind of paint that picture for us.
Yeah, for sure. So and my dates are foggy, but in like around 2021, I mean, I remember being on the interview call with Miguel crying, right? Like I didn't have so to backtrack, I lost my job. I had recently gotten a promotion at the time, thought it was great, was like overseeing like 10 or 12 people in like the healthcare space, and it like crumbled me into the ground. I lost all of my savings. I lost a lot of friends, right? I had nonstop symptoms every single day, right? I remember going to the doctor's cortisol levels through the absolute roof, right? Like, here's some anxiety medication, see you in 3 months. Saw 14, 15 different forms of doctors to try to help me. But I think like the lowest point was probably just being bedbound for like a short time, and you know, trying to do the math in my head around like, okay, like how many times can I get up to go to the bathroom without like incapacitating myself? And like, you know, just laying in bed with like, burning sensations, and just like it's a terrible low place that I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy, right? So yeah, man, it was dark. They were very dark days. Yeah, to say the
Yeah.
least.
And roughly when was that time when you were at your lowest point, when you're in bed and counting how many times you can go to the washroom? Like, is that 2022 summer, fall? Like, what was the time?
Yeah, it was. Again, I'm foggy with the dates, but I think it was just about 2022. Yeah, it was right after I had tried to go back to work for the second time, and failed to do so, and probably think like 4 or 5 weeks before I found the program. Yeah.
Got it. Got it. Okay. So it was roughly 2 years ago. You were kind of
Yeah.
in the trenches of it. That's crazy. Like, your life is very different now, and you've been good for about a year, right? So
Yeah. I'd say like it's hard, but people are always like, well, how do I know when I'm recovered? I feel like you kind of know, right? I would say that like fully recovered, like probably close to like 8 to 9 months, something like that. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So when you were at those lowest points and you're going through this, what was going through your mind at the time, and how are you staying resilient and like keeping a strong mindset during
Yeah.
those days? Because I've been there. A lot of these people, they've been there as well, people watching. But what was going through your mind? What was your experience with that?
So is this after I've joined the program or before?
Let's say before. What was keeping you going?
Yeah, before the program, what was keeping me going was just like a glimpse of hope that like I could kind of wake up from this terrible nightmare, right? Like just, especially like, so I dealt with long COVID. So like I kind of took the whole prospect of solving long COVID on my own shoulders. So like what I thought was helping was like constantly researching online, looking for different methods, trying to help myself, right? But like I would say it was just the hope that I could be the person that I was before I got sick, to be there for my loved ones, for my family, for myself, right? Like, to for society, right? To give back in some way. That was definitely before the program, but I was a manic as all hell.
Yeah.
Like that,
Yeah.
yeah.
Did it ever get in your head when you came across things online when you're reading things about, oh, people can't recover or you have to manage this for the rest of your life? Like, how did that affect you when you came across that kind of stuff?
Oh, dude, it was terrifying. It was terrifying, dude. Like I think so many of us with our type A personalities, like we just want to dig and solve and solution, but like it's so funny when you're trying to solution looking at all the wrong things, right? Like you're never going to find the right answer if you're trying to look at it from like the modern, I don't guess modern, but like the Western kind of like view, you know? So it was another symptom of a hyper anxiety and anxious state I couldn't get away from, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a tough place to be, especially, I mean, me now, if I go and research stuff, that stuff will freak me out, even though I already know there's a
Yeah,
way out. It's just you
yeah,
hear the horror stories, but you're able to kind of navigate through that. And then you're looking online for solutions. You join the program. But when did things really turn around for you? Like, what was the big mind shift where your trajectory and recovery started like really turning around and you started gaining traction?
yeah, man. I mean, there are so many moments, right? And it's almost like it's the small moments that mount into the larger ones, right? It's the little decisions that you make every single day that culminate to change your trajectory, right? For me, like I think so in the first 4 weeks in the program, I'm doing these lessons and it's like we're always skeptical, when we hear something new. And it was not until I went back and looked at my video journals and I saw the first person that was talking to me, and then like at 4 or 5 weeks down the road, who was talking to me, and I could actually watch and see the shifting tides of what occurred. But I mean, I got a lot to say about this one, Miguel. Like, dude, like I would say wholeheartedly, it's just like the commitment, right? Like committing 100% to these principles, I think is the only way to really change it. And that kind of came as like a three-pronged approach, which like self-kindness was everything. Because if you're not kind to yourself, you won't sign up for this program because you don't feel deserving of it, right? If you're not kind to yourself, you don't like even give the principles a chance, right? And then the second one, probably commitment to just continue it, and then the third being perseverance, just like regardless of what occurs in your life, just to persevere through that and maintain that commitment. Like that to me was what the program kind of like gave me with the support you provided. I don't know.
Mhm. Yeah. And I think that's so important what you said about self-kindness. And in a way, that's kind of it's kind of a big thing we teach indirectly because whenever we flared up in the past, we beat ourselves up really bad. I shouldn't have done that, messed up. Oh, I screwed up. I failed recovery, or I just undid all the work from the last 3 months. Now I have to go back and redo those 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
But when you realize, like, hey, it's okay to have the flare ups, actually part of it, then you stop beating yourself up for those things. And you don't see it as a big setback, and they go away a lot faster. They feel less intense. And yeah, it's just you're a lot kinder to yourself when you look at it from that.
Absolutely. Bro, I mean, what's really cool about the program, it's like it also indirectly, it makes you just think about consciousness, right? And the like things that you talk, the way that you talk to yourself, the things that you say to yourself, right? And I think that it challenges belief systems, right? That's what we do in like, or that's what was taught to me, right? I was stuck in a belief system and I was stuck in a rut in, consequently that was from neurally, right? The way that my systems were firing, but we change that with real thought,
Mhm.
so I don't know, it's pretty sick, pretty crazy
Yeah.
actually.
Oh yeah. And the way you think, your belief system, if we think about CFS and the situation people are in, if we look at that as if they're in like the trenches, right? Your belief system that can build a shovel to dig you deeper into the hole, or it can build you a ladder to get out. Either way, it's how you use those beliefs. And when I say like beliefs in your mind, like there's actual things changing in your physical brain.
Yep.
Um, once that clicked, once I realized it actually wasn't all in my head, it made a huge difference because I was like, okay, if I do X, Y, Z, if I think these different things and follow this brain retraining, there's actual physical change happening in my head. I
Yep.
was like, okay, I can get behind that.
That's that's the hard part explaining it to people. They're like, "Oh, it's in your head." Be like, "No, no, no, it's physically in my head. Like it's my brain." Like, you know what I mean? Like you have to describe it's like my amygdala or whatever is not like firing correctly. This is what's creating all of this craziness that's occurring. Um,
Yeah,
but like
exactly.
to answer your other question too, like I would say another two things was like accountability was really big. And I don't know, I'd like to share this with people. Like
Yeah,
when I
shoot.
was at my worst, dude, like I don't know if you guys can see this, but like what's that say? Like it's I know you could probably not see it, but I put on my wall,
Reflection?
this is called Moments of Inspiration. And then this one was called Advice. Right. So like whenever you can't see it because it's terrible, but like and then what I would do is when I heard something or I felt like there was something that really like shifted the way that I thought about it, like I would go and write it down, like I would go and write it down and put it on my wall. So then every day when I would wake up or I would go to bed, like I would go and I would look at these things that like I would say to myself. And that to me just completely it constantly reframed like the wonderful lessons that I had learned to kind of keep me on that trajectory.
Yeah. And you went all out with like doing the homework and stuff, writing stuff down, like signaling the brain. And that's what I
Dude.
see with some of the greatest recovery stories. And you know what? Now that I think of it, that's what I did too. I wrote down all these principles like a madman, scribbled
Hmm.
onto paper over and over again. So basically my routine, I'd wake up in the hospital in a wheelchair. I'd wheel myself over to a table, start writing out the principles again, all the diagrams in the recovery science blueprint, like the trajectory of recovery, the stress threshold, the
Hmm.
what is it, anxiety being a magnifying glass for the symptoms. I wrote all of this out with the energy I did have every morning and every night. And the next day I just repeated it. So it was actually part of my routine. I was like rewiring my
Hmm.
brain for that. So for you, let's say in your first couple months, learning these principles, being in the program, what was a typical day of recovery? What did that look like for you after you started gaining the traction, and what did it look like physically and mentally? I know
Yeah.
there's a lot of gray area, but maybe
No, no,
just
you're
pick up.
cool. So yeah, yeah, like a couple of months in, like into the program, you're
Yeah,
saying?
yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean, first it was just I was I was on Discord a lot. I was or school and I was communicating with friends that I made in the program pretty often. But for me, it was like this massive reset button. Like my entire life was really fast paced and like production driven, right? Or like even financially driven, right? Trying to like, be successful or whatever. And like I had this opportunity, like if I could sit from 11 to 3 o'clock and like do a puzzle and listen to a podcast, like I hated puzzles before recovery. And like, I would find the space to kind of like just allow myself that grace to like rest and recharge. But also like, dude, like it was reading or doing a lot of audiobooks, like God, like the John D. Martinis and like the brain's way of healing and the mind can heal the body, right? Like just putting myself in the upward spiral, dude. I listened to that one 3 times, like putting myself in a position to succeed and just kind of like day in and day out, do what I needed to do to support myself physically and mentally. Does that answer your question? I think so.
Yeah, yeah. On the physical side of things, that definitely answers it. In terms of the mental side of things, like what kind of stuff are you telling yourself throughout the day? And as you're going through adjustment periods, like what does that internal dialogue sound like? If someone were to listen in, what are they hearing?
I can actually tell you, dude. So like when I showed you earlier kind of like the advice, like all right, so I'll read some of them to you. It said when you're stuck in your own head, journal, get it all out on the page. Swatting away negative thoughts and staying calm when symptoms arrive is brain retraining. You are doing this correctly. Remember what voice has your best interest. Listen to that one. Mindset, right? That's another. And then the last one, you have to look for opportunities to question your belief system because you're embedded within one. We know that thoughts can make us sick, but they can also make us healthy. This is empowering but crippling. The way I track my recovery does not is not based on how health is based on how healthy on how much my healthy thoughts outweigh my sick thoughts. Even if it's 51 to 49, I'm getting better, right? So like that's dude, like that's why I did that, so that I could constantly remind myself of like, you know, what the things I needed to say were. And like Miguel, even like I used to challenge myself, bro. Like people think that it's like, oh, I had a good day of like my mindfulness. I had a good week. Dude, it is a minute by minute, it is an hour by hour thing that you have to hold yourself accountable for. And that's what helped me get out. Sorry.
Yeah.
I know I
Yeah.
just rambled.
No, that's great, man. It's always good looking back and reading those notes. And even me, when I look back and read my notes and my medical records, I'm like, was that really me?
Yeah.
And that wasn't too long ago. I mean, now it's a little bit longer. That was like 6 years ago, but it's crazy because it was a different life, man.
I
Different
well,
life.
I also want to say too, like I feel like when people are on the other side of this, like it can almost seem like it was simplified or simple. This was the hardest thing I've ever done in my entire life. Like I want to make sure that people understand just because it's simple, just because the advice is clear, does not make it easy, right? Like I don't care who you are, it is absolutely undeniably the hardest thing anybody will ever do. So like give yourself grace as you kind of work through that.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what I tell people too, because I always say in so many of my videos, this is actually a simple fix. It's a simple solution. But I never, not once in my video said it was easy to do. So some people ask me, like, oh, you make it sound like it's so easy. I said, no, I never said the word easy. I said simple. But it's just like getting in shape, right? People innately know how to get in shape. Do push-ups, do squats, eat decently healthy. What food should I eat? Just eat healthy. You know what's good food and what's not good
Yeah.
food. It's actually quite simple, but doing it, it's a lot easier said than done. But nonetheless, like if you have that desire to get better and you find this solution that's working, it makes it a lot
Mhm.
easier to do than the alternative, which is freestyling recovery.
I completely agree, man. I think I just listened to something that it's funny. It's like reminding me of recovery, where it's I can't remember his name, but it's a guy who focuses on how to build habits, and he said in order to before you can improve a habit, you have to establish it, right? So many of us, so think about going to the gym. Like you know, I think that people think that they can go and run 3 miles or they could try to deadlift the most that they can. They're going to hurt themselves, right? It probably makes more sense to just go to the gym for 5 minutes for 4 or 5 weeks, just to tell your body that like this is what we're doing now, right? And it's no different with recovery, man. Like that's why I love the way that you drip like the information to people, because like it allows them to establish that foundation to then apply that long term, right? And that's why it was so nice to have the support system for so long, you know.
Yeah, yeah. No, that is pretty much how recovery works. It's very simple. You gotta follow some simple steps, a simple solution. A lot easier said than done, but it's much better than the alternative.
Mhm.
And what most people are doing and what both you and I did, which is kind of freestyle it and look for solutions from people who had never been through this
Mhm.
or who have never recovered from this, you know? So in terms of what you're able to do now, because you've been through the fire, you applied the principles, it's the hardest thing you've ever done, but what did that unlock for you? You know, going from
Oh
very
man.
debilitated and sick, what did that unlock for you? Like, what are you able to do now?
I I I think we tend to focus a lot on what it unlocks physically, but I think I'd rather talk about what it unlocks mentally and emotionally, right? Like I would say mentally, I'm somebody that like I work a lot, but I like but I don't feel overworked, if that makes sense, right? Like I find space throughout my day to like still pace, right? And I think like pacing feels like a word that's synonymous with recovery, but it's not, right? Like I'm gonna pace for the rest of my life because like I treat my body and my mind like a house I'm gonna live in until live in for 90 years, right? Not something I'm just trying to flip. So I think really it's like I don't know. It allowed me to be kind to myself and like look at my value system in a whole new way, man. Like I care a lot less about, not that I cared a lot about money, but I care a lot less about it. You know, I care a lot more about like my family, my friends, my loved ones, and just I don't know. It's like it's like I'm playing with house money every day. You know, like like that's what it feels like. And like, how can it get much sweeter than that?
Yeah, I definitely know that feeling. Every day is just icing on the cake with a cherry on top. So if ever there's a rough day or I perceive to be a rough day in the moment, I just have to remind myself, like, Miguel, this is all a bonus. Remember when you thought you wouldn't ever be able to walk again? Well, guess what? You can walk and you could do a million other things. So
Bro.
it really puts things in perspective, into
Hmm.
perspective.
Yeah,
So
man.
in terms of working out right now, because people want to hear like, okay, so is he really recovered or does he just feel decent? Like you're running,
Do you want me
right?
to do some push-ups? Like, what do y'all want?
You do a
Yeah.
backflip for us? Prove it. Prove you're recovered. Do a backflip. Just kidding.
No, man. Yeah, dude, like it's crazy, man, to like have my body back basically, you know, and like it's also like I'm just not afraid of like so I'll say it too, like everything's a process, right? Even towards the end of your recovery, like there's gonna be fears, right? Like there's gonna be like, oh, my heart rate, oh, this or that. But like you work through that, right? Like the first time that I ran a 5K or 3 miles, like it was kind of scary, but I did it again and again and again, and now I'm back, you know? So yeah, dude, like I said, I did 12 miles yesterday on the bike. I lift weights twice, 3 times a week. I can walk as far as I want to walk. I mean, I have no physical limitations whatsoever.
You're working like more than full time, right? On top of
Yeah,
it.
it's dude, I'm working more than I was before recovery, but I feel less stressed because and this is also a consequence, maybe that's not the word, but like for recovery, like once you sit back and you look at your value system, like I only really do things that align to my highest values, right? And like when you do that, I think Junior said this before, you're not motivated to do things, you're inspired to do them. And when you're inspired to do things, you're not draining your energy, right? Like it gives you energy. It's like when an extrovert talks to people, it gives them more energy, even though they're using it, you know?
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
go
And
ahead.
isn't that interesting? You're busier, your schedule is more full now than it was before you got sick. So
Yep.
one would think, looking from the outside in, it's like, wait, Preston's doing way more stuff. Like, isn't that what led him to get sick in the first place? And people told me that too. They're like, yo, you need to take it easy. But I said, I love doing this stuff. I feel like, yeah, I'm inspired by it. It's not, I don't have to force myself to do it. Like I want to do it.
Yep.
If I had a blank calendar and you said, Miguel, what do you want to do? Do you want to go stare at the sky, go sit on the beach, go do this? No, I want to create content. I want to film stuff. I want to edit stuff. I want to build a program to help other people because
Yep.
it's inspiring. So, when you catch your stride, find your stride in recovery, it feels like the beginning is very difficult to get it going. It's like starting a bike or starting a car, like a standard car. You're
Yeah.
shifting gears, all of that. But once you're coasting, or once you're going, you're coasting. And
Yeah.
it feels like you're swimming downstream instead of upstream in terms of difficulty. Whereas in the
Yep.
beginning, it feels like you're fighting a battle you can't win, right? Trying to swim upstream, you can't beat
Yep.
nature, right? Just like you can't beat the nervous system at its own game.
Yep.
But once you learn how it works, you can learn to work with it
Yep.
and it starts to listen to you. And then next thing you know, you're just floating to the destination.
Yep.
I'm thinking of a river right now. It's the difference between swimming upstream and then sitting on a inflatable donut
I well
chilling.
no I so no I'm happy you bring that up because like I like to use the analogy of like you know how people say like oh climb the mountain, the way you climb the mountain is as important as the way you come down. I like to view it more like a river, dude, because like when you float down a river you can go fast or you can go slow, right? You can take it easy sometimes, right? Sometimes you have to avoid rocks that are in the way, and then also like when you exit the river into the ocean there's enough room for everybody, right? On a mountain there's only the summit at the top, right? So like I like to use that for recovery as well, man. It's like we're just you're floating, right? Sometimes it's harder, sometimes it's easier, but like it doesn't have to be like arduous, you know?
Mhm.
It's yeah. So I don't know. Yeah, I think it's a good thing you brought it up.
Yeah, because once you gain that traction and your nervous system kind of it catches its stride, it's recalibrating itself, you can become a lot more passive in the recovery. You don't have to brain you train every single day. It's just
Yep.
happen.
Yep.
Like now, I don't really have to brain retrain. I mean, if something stressful comes up and I calm myself down, that in a sense, that's brain retraining. But like before, if I go on I don't know, a 10-minute run, I get back home, I'll have to calm my heart rate down. I'll
Mhm.
feel some symptoms, talk myself down, do manual recalibration. But now I go for a run, I sit back down within, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes, my heart rate's back down. It does it
Yep.
automatic. So your nervous system has that ability, guys. It can correct
Yeah.
itself.
Well, it's,
And
I
we
mean,
can,
yeah, man, you're becoming like reconnected, right, with your brain, right? Like it's almost like, I don't know if people will get this like example, but do you remember in Avatar when he used to connect to like the thing on
yeah,
front of him
yeah, exactly.
where it would, like spindle together? Like that's what it feels like's happening with my brain stem. Like it's connecting back together, you know? And like, but it took time to get there, man. But that's literally what it felt like, you know? It just and I also wanted to comment too about like stress, man, like just the way that like what used to be considered stressful, I don't even consider stressful anymore. Right? Just based on knowing that like the way I respond to not symptoms, but like my life will provide better outcomes, you know? So I don't know. I like to tell people that too. Like once you're on the other side of this thing, man, like stress isn't, you look at it in a different light.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't look at it as like a bad thing. It's just stimulus, basically. And
Yep.
how much stimulus something has, or how much stimulus, how much weight, what am I trying to say? How much weight of stimulus you put on a certain activity, or whatever, it comes down to your perception of the activity. Because
Yep.
before, with my old mindset, you throw me into this, what I'm doing right now, I'd probably just crumble under the pressure. But now I see it in a different way, and I can tie it to my values and what's important to me. So it's like there's stress and there's eustress.
Yep.
Stress breaks down something. Eustress builds something up. So it's like complete opposite. So it sounds like you have a lot of eustress in your life right now, which is the
Yeah.
good kind of stress you want,
Yeah,
you
man.
know?
I almost think too, like, so I learned this. So I know I'm sorry for going all over the place, but like one of the things that really I valued about the community that I was in was that so much of recovery is finding out what works for you. And what you provided, Miguel, was an ecosystem in which I could explore all the things that might work for me. Right. So, like, for me, that was like somatic tracking. Right. For me, that was meditation. For me, that was like different books that you recommended, right? So like I found like the right tools based on all the folks that I met with, right? And my point in that is that like I learned a lot about like how, you know, just mindfulness, consciousness, how emotions can color your perception of the world, right? And there's tons of things out there that can help you do that in your own recovery.
Yeah, absolutely. So what is your, I know this, it's hard to give just one piece of advice, but like if I ask you biggest actionable piece of advice you can give people watching right now, and a lot of these people, they're like recovered. I'm looking at the names, recovered, or well along their way. For people
Yeah.
in the trenches who aren't quite there yet, what is like a big actionable piece of advice, something they could do, or something, a tip you can give them, or it could be a couple things. I know it's hard
Yeah.
to
Yeah. No, no, no,
think.
no, no. I hear you, dude. I mean, I feel like we talked about so much of it already. And I don't want to seem like it's not unique, right? But I think it's just the commitment, the commitment to the principles is a commitment to yourself, right? And understanding that like every time that you put yourself first in this situation, or every time that you do this work, you're putting yourself first, right? Like it is going to take time. And even if you only have like a glimmer of hope that you're going to get out of this thing, like that's enough to snowball into something exceptionally real, you know, that can change a life, you know? So I really, really, truly believe that without the commitment and the self-kindness, like I touched on before, none of this is possible. You have to have both of them in order to get all the way there. Trying to think if there's anything else that I would say. But you know, it's like I don't know. It's it might be stealing a little bit, but what's Bruce Lee say? Right? Rather than knowing 1,000 kicks, I'd rather know how to do one kick 1,000 times, right? Or you know what I mean? Do one thing the best 1,000 times, and I think that's recovery in a nutshell, right? Just learning how to do one or two things as well as you possibly can, rather than getting thrown into this craziness that we were, you know?
Yeah. I want to ask you this too, because this just came to my mind right now. It helped me recover. Um, in my mind, when I learned this information, within like, I don't know, within 15 minutes of learning the stuff, in my mind, I'm like, wow, okay, I have recovered. Like, or recovery is inevitable. It's like guaranteed if I follow this stuff. So in my mind, there was no way to fail. I was like, if I just do this stuff, I have to recover. How can I not recover? Because other people have done it. I'm just
Yeah.
like them. So in my mind, like failure was off the table. I was all in. Um, and maybe from time to time there was some fear around the symptoms during flare-ups and stuff, but
Yeah.
to me, it's never a question of if I would recover. It was like it was just a matter of time. So is that something that clicked for you as well when you found the
Oh,
information that you just knew like this is in the bag? It's just a matter of
oh,
time.
yeah, man. I would say, and I think this happens for a lot of people, like once I got to like the 60, 70%, and I don't mean to put numbers associated with recovery, but like once I felt like three-fourths of the person that I was before, like I reached a point where I accepted that if that's the best I ever got, that was okay. And like by having that acceptance, I just continued to make improvements, you know? Like if you can accept your state, accept yourself at each stage, it's like you always say, Miguel, it's like unlocking to the next level, right? So yeah, that was hugely helpful for me, man. Like just I I can't reiterate enough that like mindset is like 90% of this. Like it's like 90% of this. And then 10% is like listening to your coach around like physically pacing correctly. You know, like I just like I can't reiterate how important and how much that really means.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's just really interesting to think back. Like for me, failure was off the table. Even during thick APs after I got out of the hospital, I'm like, I'm never ending up bedridden. Like I
Yeah.
should knock on wood right now. Like what if something else gets me now, right? But like in terms of CFS, it's like
Yeah.
I'm never going back to the trenches. I've been in the trenches for so long. I'm never going back there. I can't. Even if
Yeah.
all my symptoms came back, because the mindset is different. The mindset and the kind of the fuel you pour on the fire when you're in an AP, that's what leads to the trenches. I'm like, I
Absolutely.
do that.
Well, bro, can we even like I know that this is like impromptu, but like can we do an exercise with everybody that like can help with this? Right? Like
Yeah.
I know there's a bunch of people who are recovered, but like and you can laugh at me, but this is something that I do like still sometimes. So like everybody close your eyes. You're like a teacher at school. Like yeah,
Oh,
but like no,
yeah.
but like if everybody close your eyes now in your mind, bring to top of your attention a time where you were like embarrassed or like you felt awkward or you did something that you just feel shitty about, right? And just like let that settle in for a moment. Like, what does that feel like to just be embarrassed or do something stupid, right? Like, what does that feel like? Like Miguel, so tell me what that feels like in your head. Like, what emotions are you feeling? What's your body telling you?
I'm like closing my chest. It's kind of burning in here a little bit. I just want to
Your
like,
images are coming in your head, right? Of what? All right, now stay with that for a few seconds. Now, I want you to now imagine that somebody who you love, right? It's your partner, it's a child, it's a spouse. Imagine that they're smiling. Imagine that they have the biggest smile and that they received everything that they've ever wanted, right? Just imagine that like they're as happy as they can possibly be. They're filled to the brim, right? Like, what does that feel like, right? What does that feel like?
felt my whole body relax. Complete opposite.
Yeah,
Lighter,
dude.
feel warm and fuzzy.
Right.
Not burning anymore.
But like, dude, like those are just words. Like those are just emotions that we evoked, right? Like we can allow them to have power over us, or we can disable them before they do, right? So I just like I do that myself just to remind myself that it's like we will have a trigger, right? And then we'll have a behavior and then a result. So like the trigger might be a symptom, but you have a decision to make here at your behavior. I can go down this path of, like letting this symptom take me, or I can go down this other path and respond as well as I can, right? And then you'll get that different result. So I don't know. I really enjoy that. That like clicked for me. So I like to do that with people.
That's a super cool exercise because essentially you're showing that you have control over the different spectrums of emotions, and you can almost feel it physically, those two
Hmm.
different, feel it in your body. And you're right, that was just certain sounds in a certain way, which were
Yeah.
basically words triggering things in your brain to send
To give you a
your
physiological response. Exactly. That's exactly right, dude. So like, and the key here is that life is going to happen. Bad things are going to happen. Bad emotions are going to come your way, but you have the ability to respond differently, right? And like that's a key for life, bro. That's not just recovery, you know?
Oh yeah. And in recovery, like everything you're feeling is just amplified. So if you can get good at this during recovery, which you have to, it's the only way out.
Yep.
Once you get good at this during recovery, life just gets a whole lot easier on the back end because you could
Yep.
deal with a lot more things. Your stress resilience is way higher than before. And you become, I would say, anti-fragile mentally
Yep.
and emotionally versus fragile when you are in the depths of CFS,
Hmm.
you know. So
Yeah,
that was a
man.
great exercise. I love
Yeah,
that.
man. Yeah, I'm happy to do it. I'm sorry too if we went completely off topic. Like I didn't know if there's anything else you
Great.
wanted to chat about.
That was great. That was great. Let's open up the chat to a couple of questions. I know we got about 15 minutes, but yeah, let's get these folks involved. Guys, what are your thoughts so far? Are you getting some golden nuggets out of this? And if you are, what was your biggest takeaway so far? And also any questions you guys have, feel free to pop it in the chat. Not the Q&A, but the chat. I see some people putting it in the Q&A. Yeah, did you have pain, Preston? Did you deal
Yeah,
with pain?
yeah, I did. I did have pain. I think Dorian. So I had like specifically a lot of like chronic pain underneath my eyes of all places, like a lot of burning sensations. And that spread to like other places in my body. I also had weird pain. Like I had injuries, like I tore my MCL, and that was like very painful. Like I had existing injuries like come back up, and like that was still nervous system, which I thought was insane. So yeah, definitely dealt with pain.
Yeah. Yeah. Alrighty, let's see. How should I handle infections? I scared of it. That's more of a coaching question, but that's handle infections. Obviously, deal with it the best you can, and if you need to go on antibiotics, sometimes you need that for actual physical infections. But after that, you kind of treat it like an adjustment period. You'll feel similar effects from infections usually. But yeah,
Yeah.
definitely see your doctor about that. Most
It's
infections you can't brain retrain away. You gotta fix
I'll
that.
I'll comment here to Melissa. I had COVID. I got COVID the first time and got long COVID. Then I had it two more times while I was in the program. So like, yeah, totally what Miguel said. Like, go to your doctor. Like, if you've got an infection, like no amount of brain retraining is gonna solve that. But like, yeah, dude, like responding well can't hurt anything.
Yeah.
Right. Um, what's your recovery timeline? Did you have any major relapses? Yeah, so I would say I fully recovered in like 10 months to a year, probably, like maybe a little bit less. I'm terrible with my timelines because life moves fast. But then did I have any major relapses? I wouldn't say major. I would say there were some APs where I definitely sunk a little bit lower in the beginning because I was still getting my mindset correct. But like no, I didn't have any major relapses before the program. Absolutely. Yeah, I had like several relapses because I didn't understand what was happening to me. Frustration fueled the fire, you know. Yeah. Hope that helps.
Yeah. Yeah. But you were functional. What was it? You joined in October. You could go out, you could drive, you could go to groceries.
Yep.
Was that like 6 months in or something?
Yeah,
Maybe
I would
less.
even say before that, I'd say like 5 months. Yeah,
Yeah,
like
five.
I was averaging like, you had me doing like little exercises like push-ups off the wall, things like that, to kind of train myself back.
Yeah.
Um, what is this? So it's not intense exercise, it's more your fear and mindset while doing the intense exercise that will determine the nervous system response. Yeah, I mean, it's, you're still going to have a physiological response, right? If you haven't done it. Like, so this is a hard time too, John. Like if you're already like let's say that you've been couch bound for 4 months. Your body's not ready to take a run, like, and that's not your nervous system.
Definitely
Those are,
not. You ain't ready.
yeah,
Yeah.
those are just your muscles, like that's not right. So like I would say like you have to like it's like anything you have to pace it. Like and for my intense exercise, dude, I paced the whole time. Like it took me like when I say I biked 12 miles, I didn't go from biking 0 to 12. I biked for 1 mile. Then I biked for two over the course of like a month. And then in 3 more months, I biked 6 miles, right? Like it took, time to kind of get back to this place. Um,
Yeah. And John, like you can introduce intense exercise if you can do all the regular stuff with basically no problem. If you can drive, you can walk around, hang out with friends, even do part-time work, then I'd say, okay, start introducing intense exercise. But if you're still kind of getting a grip on things, take it easy, take it slow. Don't push yourself hard because you will have APs, especially in the beginning. Um, but yeah, you'll get there. You'll get there.
yeah, 100%. Did you have the feeling of having a flu? Did it go away? Yes, definitely. Yeah, dude. Like I would feel like I had a flu. It was crazy for like 4 hours. Like I would have a flu for 4 hours and then it would go away and then it would come back. That was one of my like rotating secondary symptoms. So yeah, definitely Violetta.
Yeah.
I don't know how many questions are in here, so I'm trying to get to everybody. Did you
Yeah, we won't be able to get to all the questions, guys, but we'll answer as many as we can in the next like 10 minutes or so.
How this is a good question. How did you deal with frustrating times when trying to get better? Um, that's when like I almost like how we have like an adjustment period care kit like in the program. I kind of created one for myself. So like I like started to whittle. I started to like carve little things out of wood. I started to like listen to like comedies as a way to kind of like prepare myself for that. Like just trying to push myself in there and like understanding that like I don't have to be happy. Like being neutral was enough to calm my nervous system. So like it was that kind of like self-acceptance. So I hope that helps. Um, cool. What did you get from 90% to 100%? I'm doing a lot now, but still having days when I'm drained, just trying to get over that last hurdle. Yeah, Michael, like, bro, so I'll be honest, like that first like part of recovery is very slow, and that last part of recovery is very slow. Like my toughest primary symptom was brain fog, and I was working a full-time job for like 3 or 4 months before that really faded away. But like it will go away. You just have to be really patient at the end because your body and your brain's like, are you sure it's gone? Are you sure that you don't have, So like it's just it takes a lot of time, man.
Yeah.
Um,
At that stage, when you're like 90 to 100%, however you measure that, you kind of just want to focus on living life
yeah,
because you can pretty much do all those things and it's just going to take time. Even for me, it took a while for that last little bit, but at that point, you have the ability to do other activities to the point where you kind of forget you have CFS. So just the fastest way to go from 90 to 100% is to not try to go from 90 to 100%. It's
yeah.
just to live your life and it will happen so much faster.
Dude,
Yeah.
no, I couldn't agree more, dude. Yeah, just letting go.
Yeah.
Was it
So
Chloe? Were
awesome.
you were you
Yeah.
more team cognitive or physical? How did you start expanding physical activity? I was definitely more team cognitive when the program found me. Like I think I had listened to like 200 Miguel's videos before I joined the program. So like I was already like starting to get better, but like there was a time where I was very physically incapacitated, but by the time I got to the program, I was team cognitive. And then physical activity, like for me, it was like mindset came first. Mindset always comes first. And then for physical activity, it was just like, I think the coaches gave me a great 30-day plan. It was, walking a certain amount, very, very minimally. Like I said, the wall push-ups, right? Like things that I felt like I could not congratulate myself, but like I could feel good about the end of the day, right? Like that I'd done something physically. So really it was just leaning on the coaches. Um, all right. I'm sorry too. Let's see. Can you give examples of how you brain trained? What did you tell yourself? Oh man, I mean that's where it's like, oh, all these little notes that I took. Like I think so Cass, like once I changed my view from brain retraining as something like meditation where I had to sit down formally do it, and I turned brain retraining to something that like I did in my day-to-day life, that's when things really started to change. Like as I navigated my day, that was oh there was always an opportunity to brain retrain to filter out those negative thoughts. So you know, the things that I would tell myself. I mean, one that came often was like, you can, I think it's like an Eastern tradition, but it's like the way you plant seeds, right? Like if I plant a crap seed, then I'm going to get a shit tree. If I plant a good positive seed, right? Like, and then I can go there. So it's always, you know, it's what I said. Remember what voice has your best interest. Listen to that voice.
Yeah. I think that's one of the biggest ones for brain training for me, at least most of the time, what it looked like for me. And what you said, instead of looking at it as something you have to sit down and take 15 minutes and get into this ideal state, it's quick. It's like 1 to 2 seconds. So for example, if I'm flaring up and my symptoms are going crazy and I start to ask myself, why is this taking so long? Boom, instantly right there, I
Yep.
say, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter
Yeah.
how long it takes. Are you responding well? It's simple, yes or no. Because well, this is what I would tell myself. Miguel, if you are asking how long it takes, that's not responding well. You're literally taking the bait. So I said, don't ask that. Doesn't matter. Respond well. Okay, my symptoms are there, cool. I don't care, I'm neutral, doesn't matter. Or like if my heart or my chest hurts, could that be a heart attack? And then I catch myself, no, Miguel, you're talking crazy, we're not playing that game, it's a nervous system. So that's kind of what it is. You're correcting your thoughts in real time, essentially what brain training is. Most of the time you're correcting your thoughts.
That was no, I remember you sat down with me, Miguel, and you like I asked that question like 7 different times, and you're like, no, dude, like you're doing it right. Like that is brain retraining. So that was helpful. But I think it's actually a good segue to Christelle. Do you still have to pace yourself like with breathing exercises or something? Do you do it automatically? I like so I have I meditate every day, right? But like I try to tell people if you don't like meditating, like Miguel doesn't like meditating. If you don't like it and it stresses you out, don't do it. What I recommend people find 20 minutes of your day just to do something peaceful that is important to you. So like if that's listening to music, if that's journaling, if that's a coloring book, if that's whittling, if like whatever, like that to me is like the pacing activity. Just find time for that piece, you know.
Yeah,
Um
exactly.
God.
Music is really good too,
Oh
like
yeah.
playing instruments. Okay,
We're
let's
gonna
go.
have to put wait,
Yeah, let's
Miguel.
pick three more questions.
I know. Well, we got to get you to play guitar for everybody. Miguel's a good guitar player. If y'all didn't know.
I know. Maybe that'll be the next video or something. When I talk about doing things that you enjoy to help recovery, maybe I'll play a guitar song for you guys, like Titanic or something. I like classical guitar songs. Um, but anyways, you could pick, yeah, pick three.
Oh man, dude, you pick. I can't pick.
Oh
You pick
man, okay.
something. Yeah.
All right, let's see. Um, let's see.
Hearing.
How okay. Here's one from Laura. How long in the program did it take until you started to make big improvements? Did you feel doubt and frustration on the way? And what did you do about it? I think it's very subjective because big improvements is very subjective, but maybe for you, how long did it take to feel a significant shift?
I would say significant shift, probably like 3 to 4 months. And I'm saying like that's like the first time I went to a grocery store without having a panic attack, right? The first time, like, you know, I remember I like took a call in the grocery store parking lot, and I was like, holy crap, like I'm doing it. So to me, that was like 3 months. And then was I frustrated? Absolutely. Yes. Like it's you can't do this and not get frustrated, right? Like there's entire religions built around like what we're trying to do. Like so like it's gonna like it takes time. It's hard and you're gonna get frustrated, you know.
Yeah,
Um
yeah.
so yeah.
So keep plugging away, Laura. You're doing the right stuff. I'm in your chats with Adrienne, so keep it up. You're doing the
I
right thing.
I see too. There's a few questions about like how specifically or how exactly did you respond to your symptoms? and then, like, I don't know, I'm seeing that like three separate, like asked in
Yeah.
three different ways. Like, dude, for me, like, so here's an example. So I would use what's called somatic tracking. And the way that I see it, it's allowing symptoms to flow through you, right? Rather than like pull them out, right? So like, let's say I had a lot of pot symptoms, I had heart palpitations, and that was very fear driven. So like, I would think in my head, I was like, okay, I've got this like heart symptom. Like I can either try to rip it out of me, right? Or you can relax and you can allow it to kind of sift through you and filter through you. And what you can do is like actually feel into the sensation. And rather than it breeding anxiety, like you breathe into the anxiety and then it goes all the way through you. So that to me was like a very real way of how I dealt with symptoms that I know sometimes people are like curious about.
Yeah. Um, Here's one. Because you got this, was it from long COVID? It's COVID, right?
Yeah, long COVID. Yeah.
COVID. Yeah, okay. Did they ever talk about like is that what they diagnosed you with, or they kind of just
Yeah.
let you
So
figure it out?
so it's funny. Before I found your program, I signed up for the Mount Sinai long COVID program, and I was on a waiting list. And they diagnosed me with ME/CFS. And like I remember they finally had an opening, and then I got into your program, and I was like, screw that. I'm not doing that. Like it's just like I would have had to move. It would have been like 4 times as much money, and I was just like, nah. So yes, I was diagnosed with ME/CFS.
Oh, looks like Nikki, she just put in the chat. She went to the same clinic as well.
What up? Yeah, it
Sinai.
didn't help me, but that's okay.
Yeah, you made it here. Same with Krista. She went to all these different clinics, Stanford, some other ones. I know a lot of people go to John Hopkins in, I think that's New York or something. But
Yeah,
like,
dude, it's crazy. Yeah, man, they didn't help me. So, I mean, thank you, but what are you gonna do?
yeah, I hear they just put people on like exercise bikes, and so like, okay, well, build up your stamina. Here's some meds. Get on the bike, and it's just you know how that goes. It's pretty wild.
Do I
Um,
do you have advice? Sorry, this is such a good question
yeah,
do
yeah.
you have advice how to start meditation for a beginner? Yeah. So and again, like I just Sam Harris is like he's a neuroscientist and a philosopher in one, and he has unbelievable content on meditation. Sam Harris. I'm sorry, that has no association with Miguel, the program, or me, but like that's who I use, and it's an awesome way to get started.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Yeah, that's pretty much most of the questions, but let's see what everybody has taken away from this chat. We've gone on for about an hour now. Um, what's the biggest takeaway you guys have from this call? We still have about 49 people on here, people popping in and out, but what's the biggest takeaway? Let's see. Not easy, but simple. Yep, that is right. Not easy, but simple. What else? You dropped a lot of knowledge on this one, a lot of golden nuggets. Recovery is inevitable. Yes, that is probably what helped me the most, knowing that it is. There's no way I can, unless I'm an alien or I got some weird thing, genetic 0.0000001% thing wrong with me. Like I didn't see why I couldn't recover, but I knew it would be a fight. It would be a journey. I'd go through the storms, but nonetheless, I would get there, you know. And every day I was responding well to symptoms. Every second I responded well to symptoms. Every time I did that, I was one step closer. And this journey is like thousands of steps, but every time you respond well, that is one step closer to thriving health. Let's see.
Dude,
Uh,
these are making me so happy. Like, Miguel, like, dude, seriously, like everybody who's here, you guys are already like so far ahead in the journey. Like just being here. Sorry, Miguel, go ahead.
no, that's great. Be patient with progress and be persistent. That's right, Sean. Cass, 5149 good thoughts will get you there. I remember Junior said that on one of the calls, right? We really harped on that. Chloe, the exercise of closing your eyes and picturing two different scenarios was so good. Yeah. Just think about that, guys. That was about 1 minute apart. You felt two different sensations in your body just from thoughts. So imagine if you do this multiple times a day, the energy directed in the right way, in the right direction, is going to get you there. It's going to take you the distance. Remember what voice has your best interest. Yep. You choose how you respond to a symptom.
I love this one that Nina said.
Yeah. You don't have to be 10,000% healed before returning to work. Brain fog in work story. Healing will still progress once we have confidence. Absolutely. It's not like you guys are recovering, and then once you get to 100%, then you start living life. Towards the later stages of recovery, it kind of overlaps. You are already starting to live life while you're recovering. So it's like a transition, but those two different lives, CFS recovery life and a normal life for just living again, those kind of, there is a threshold, a crossing point where they both intertwine, where you are living and recovering at the same time. Let's see. Number one rule, how you respond to symptoms. It's not me versus a monster COVID versus a monster that is long COVID. It's more that it's me versus my own bad mental habits. I have the power to change. Yeah, you do have the power. Commitment is key to recovery, but at the same time, focusing to get to 100% can get us lost. Yeah.
Yep.
I was basically 90% for a bit and then relapsed big time when I went wild to reach 100%. Yeah, I've definitely
Accurate.
done that before. I'll be patient in my current recovery and let things go in time. Can you send a script for that exercise? Just watch the replay. It's very simple. You want to quickly go over it, Preston? The
Yeah, I mean, I think I have it written down somewhere. Maybe Miguel, we can talk about doing it for the program if you're interested, like getting
Yeah,
Junior to
yeah.
do it or something.
I think it's a great exercise. Week one, just to
Yeah,
show them, hey, this is possible. Yeah, it's a great
yeah.
idea.
Okay.
Um, it's an hour by hour game. That's right. Uh, do not resist symptoms in life. Brain retraining can be just looking at your thoughts.
Correct.
Um, yeah, awesome, man. Well, looks like you guys got a lot of value out of this one. This replay will be up everywhere. But yeah, these are the kind of conversations we have inside of the Recovery Academy and our Platinum program. It's these types of conversations that kind of bring back balance into the brain that is imbalanced right now. These are the kind of conversations that get you out of survival mode. So we talk like this all the time, multiple calls every week. But we're here to help you guys whenever you're ready. Just you can click the link in the bio on YouTube or in the description on YouTube, in my bio on Instagram and the Facebook group. Just reach out. We're happy to help, or just watch these videos. There's a lot of people recovering with just these resources. So, Preston, before we wrap this up, is there anything else you want to share with these folks before we
No,
leave?
no, man. I mean, I'm so it's so easy to get lost in this space. It's really scary for anybody, so the fact that you're here, that you're absorbing the content, that you're in a place where you can make real changes for yourself and get your life back, like that's absolutely huge, right? And like and I know, Miguel, you feel the same way too, right? It's not about being in CFS recovery. It's not about being in academy or platinum. It's about just how many people can heal, right? Like that, and like just how much reach and impact, right? Like you can have by teaching these things. So please, continue to do the methods, and recovery is inevitable. You will get there. You will.
There we go. Awesome, man. Hope you guys enjoy this one. This is the first of many Thriver Spotlight interviews. We're going to be doing this every month, maybe a couple times a month. We'll see. But it's just a way to get more knowledge and golden nuggets to you guys. And these people we're bringing on, they're a few steps ahead of you guys. They're closer to your situation than I am, because I recovered, a few years ago. These people recovered a year ago, or 6 months, or 2 years. So awesome, everybody. Really glad you guys enjoyed this. We'll see you guys next time. And always remember, as always, you are just one mind shift away from, what is it? One mind shift away from living a life with thriving health. And Preston, now I can tell you that you're already at thriving health. So you
Thank
made
you,
it, man.
man. Thank you for everything. Appreciate it, man.
Cool. Cheers. See you, Preston. See you, everybody.
Hi, everybody.
Bye.